collation of results in Edo governorship election after delay. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dotun Oladipo. Gentlemen, good afternoon to you. Welcome to Journalist Hangouts on Sunday.
Good afternoon.
Right. Journalist Hangouts starts now. For the people of Edo State, South Nigeria, it's still a step to the conclusion of the task of electing a new governor for the state in Saturday's governorship election. After much delay, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, began collation of the results. It's 16 local governments. Results from 16 local governments have been announced so far.
Yes. Yesterday, we talked about some of our expectations. We talked about INEC's inability to get ballot materials to polling centers in good time. In some cases, it wasn't a general problem, but some locations were affected. And we felt, look, this sort of problem shouldn't be running its head in our elections. After all these years, we should have found a way to deal permanently with this problem, but it didn't happen. We talked about the influence of money. I predicted that Edo governorship election will set a record in terms of vote buying. That prediction effectively came to pass because 20,000, as much as 20,000, and that was offered, was given to voters in Edo State. Some got 5,000, some got 20,000. So it was, that was bad. And this is not what we want to see, because when politicians give that much money to people to secure their votes, it amounts to weaponizing poverty.
Yeah.
And that's not what we want to see. But the election has been keenly fought so far, and I didn't expect anything less than that. The stakes were high for the two parties. As far as I'm concerned, it's a true horse race. I said that yesterday. I didn't see the Labour Party making any impact.
That's surprising. I mean, many thought the...
It's no surprise.
Many thought the Olumide factor.
No. This is not NBA politics, for God's sake. This is not NBA politics. And some of what happened, you see, no two elections are ever going to be the same. Some of the factors that were at play in 2023 were not there in this election. People were simply voting for Peter Obi. Take Peter Obi out of the PDP, I mean the Labour Party. Labour Party is like a shell.
Flat.
Without Peter Obi, Labour Party is an exaggerated nothingness. So if anyone felt that, that momentum has since died down, it may not be pleasing to the ears of people who hate the truth, but that is the truth. I said it here yesterday. That was where I sat. That it's not going to be a three-horse race. Brian Shita asked me, I said, no, it won't be a three-horse race. It will be a two-horse race, and that's what we've seen. You can imagine the Labour Party candidates scoring just 98 in an entire local government.
381.
98 votes. So, look, I also said that the election will be decided. The election is like a referendum on Obaseki. The people felt, Obaseki had not performed, had not lived up to their expectation, had not played his politics the right way, they will reject his candidate. So at the end of the day, the outcome of this election will be decided by how the people feel about their incumbent governor. Mm. If they felt the incumbent governor was someone who didn't perform, who was simply fighting everybody, they will show him by rejecting his candidate. I don't know if his candidate has been rejected. I don't have access to the... Yes, I don't have access to the total votes that his candidate scored. But I know that if the people were not convinced about Obaseki's leadership, they will say that boldly in terms of the quantum of votes that they give to his candidate. I recall that Obaseki said, look, the people of Edo State do not like a godfather. That in their politics they abhor the idea of godfatherism. If indeed the people of Edo State do not like godfathers, do not want to see godfathers have a free reign in Edo State, then his candidate will be rejected so that he doesn't become a godfather. So there are many issues that this election will resolve. And before our eyes, we'll see.
Vicky, voter turnout. Are you impressed?
No. No. As I said yesterday, sometimes our people just decide that, well, since the governments have not been good to them, it affects the way they pay their taxes, it affects the way they get involved in something that is a national duty, like this one. If the government of the day is popular, you see that people will show greater patriotism, people will show a greater desire to get involved in matters of state. People naturally should be willing to vote, but a lot of Nigerians are disillusioned. They are more concerned about where their next meal will come from than to get themselves busy voting on election day. Apathy, especially on election day, is not peculiar to Nigeria. That's why in the US, they have what is called the get out the vote. This get out the vote is very crucial in determining who wins an election in the US. All parties get volunteers, and they also pay people to be knocking on people's doors to bring out people on election day so that those people can vote. No? So the party that is get out the vote efforts is more tremendous. It's usually the party that wins the election. So apathy is always a problem on election day, and this is not limited to Nigeria. So, and again, it rained yesterday. So that will always affect the outcome of the election. And then delays in taking ballot materials to polling centers has a way of discouraging people. Some of them will turn back home. I mean, if they got there early and you didn't bring ballot materials on time, some of them will be discouraged. They will just go back home. So, but I still think that the outcome, I mean, the turnout was good in some areas.
Okay. All right. Dr. Let me come to you. Results from 16 local government areas have been announced so far. Are you impressed? What were your expectations juxtaposed with what we've seen so far?
Well, I wouldn't say, I mean, from the onset, I had any expectation in terms of who is going to emerge winner. Like Bikuyo said, it was obvious from the onset that this is a match between the APC and PDP. And for me, I also didn't see the candidates of both parties on the ballot. Rather, I can see Godwin Obaseki versus Adams Oshiomhole. Unfortunately, in talking about voter apathy and strength, the North has a stronger culture. I'm talking of Edo North, of voting. If you go back in time and you look at what I would describe as mobilization and participation in the electoral process, the North has always had it. And then from the result you can see, you'll see that in places where in the North, the results announced so far is showing that the margin between the APC and PDP is wide. You see that in the South it's so tiny. In one case, I think it's about 50 votes that separated the PDP from the APC. So for me, they need to mobilize against any other election in terms of people coming out. But like Biki also said, it showed not even APC in the other senatorial districts didn't have it. It's in the North, largely. It's in the North. So it shows that perhaps the people in the other districts don't even care so much. But these other ones went out and voted. Though even when you compare the number of registered voters to those who actually came out, it's still a negligible fraction. You know, but at least the North, from what we have seen so far, is better. And Adams Oshiomhole is from the North. This other man.
So you expected PDP to have understood?
Deputy governor.
Yes, it's also from the North.
So you expected PDP to have understood that dynamic?
It's always been there. And what they should have done also is to say, let me also pull my own people out. If you want to win, you can't afford to sit back.
All right. Gentlemen, let's cross over to Benin City, where our correspondent, Uche Okoro, is standing by to give us some updates. Good afternoon to you, Uche. How are you today? Uche, good afternoon to you. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. We're good over here.
All right. Let me first say well done to you. And so at this moment, give us some situation, some updates about what's happening at the Collation Center and Edo State, Benin City and Edo State as a whole.
Right now, the Collation Center has emptied out. It's situated in the INEC headquarters in Benin City, the state capital. That's the state headquarters. It's empty right now. The officials and observers, party agents and representatives and security agents as well have left the venue. Initially, the commission was reluctant to give a specific time that collation would resume. 16 local governments have come in. We're still expecting results from 2 local government areas. The commission, when it announced its recess, was reluctant initially to give a definite time when collation would reconvene. But you know, the people in the hall, journalists and others, protested, thereby forcing the commission's hand to give a time, give 5 p.m. as its projection for collation to continue. Of course, the protest coming from the hall was not didn't come as a surprise, because many persons who are here or who were here at, when collation resumed actually passed the night, haven't been home or haven't left this venue since election ended yesterday. So you can imagine their frustration when INEC attempted to adjourn collation indefinitely. They were already looking at another overnight stay at the commission's headquarters without any information on the way forward. So as the commission has been forced to say 5 p.m., so that's about 3 hours from the time that collation was suspended. So we hope that they would be able to meet up with their new time, with their new timing. A lot of persons have left to freshen up. A lot of persons have left to get something to eat. So we expect the activities to pick up at the Collation Center once again after when the 5 p.m. Mark arrives. So that's the situation here. We're still monitoring developments. We're expecting results from 2 local government areas, after which collation will go into the final collation of results from all 18 local government areas, and then we would have the final results are declared and a winner returned. So that's the procedure. Right now, this is the 13th and last stage, according to INEC, in the entire election process. They are hoping that what is the last stage will end smoothly without any incidents. We're still here at the INEC headquarters in Benin City.
Let me just ask, what's the situation like now after the drama that was said to have happened in the morning when the governor stormed, quote and unquote, stormed the collation center? How's the atmosphere there now?
The atmosphere is very calm. Yeah, right now the atmosphere is very calm, even though upon my arrival at the Commission's headquarters, there's very high security presence, very high security presence. The vehicles aren't allowed a few meters away from the Commission's headquarters. Vehicles are forced to park a distance away, and everyone continued their journeys on foot, and everyone is also forced to use just one lane of the road, and even that lane of the road has been split into 2. You have soldiers who have formed a perimeter on the side of the road that has been allowed for use by pedestrians. Of course, stern-looking soldiers. They are trying to forestall any situation whereby a large crowd of persons will forcefully gain access to the venue, or unauthorized persons would gain access to the venue. So that's it. As at the time when I arrived, it was raining heavily. But these police officers, these soldiers were standing in the rain, looking very battle ready. So the atmosphere is calm. Security agents seem to be at alert. All the traffic on adjoining roads to this venue is very heavy. Why? Because, like I said, one entire lane of the road where the INEC headquarters is located has been completely cordoned off and taken over by security agencies, while the one left for pedestrian use has been split into 2, a perimeter formed by military personnel. So right now the atmosphere is calm. Security agencies are keeping their eyes open, while the political parties, their representatives who were allowed access into this venue have continued the protests in protest against what's going on here at the Collation Center.
Uche Okoro, our correspondent there at the State Collation Center. Thank you so much for this update, and well done once again. Thank you so much. Gentlemen, let's bring this conversation back to the studio. BQ, there were several allegations in the build-up and during the election. One, allegation of fake results that were uploaded. For you, what does the law say? How do we address this going forward?
Well, the reason parties have agents is for them to be able to raise an alarm when they suspect that some infraction is about to take place. It's a good thing. The idea of IREF is a good thing, but it is not the final call. It is the results announced at the collation center in the presence of party agents that the courts recognize. The only time when they can use the IREF to validate the result is if there is dispute. They can then say, okay, let us check what was uploaded, like it happened in Adamawa State. There is dispute, they can go back and check what was uploaded, but the IREF is not the holy grail when it comes to our elections. The structure is clear. Returning officers, you bring the results, And the results will be read before party agents and then validated right there. That is the structure. The IRF thing, as we have seen, even during the adjudication on the 2023 election, the IRF thing is not the final. It's not the final document. The final document on our elections is the result sheet. The result sheet and what returning officers bring to the collation center. The returning officers have the final say on the elections that they conducted. Not even the REC in any state can contradict what the returning officer who organized the election in his own local government brings to the collation center. So, for me, we should focus our attention on what transpired at the collation centers. And if any party believes that what was read at the collation center was not the actual results from the polling centers, then they can go to court. That's the...
All right, Dr. Quickly before we move on, how impressed are you about the conduct of the election, how peaceful it turned out? Not forgetting the kinds of conversations that were coming up from some political bigwigs before the election.
Yeah, in terms of violence, it was an anticlimax. No one expected it was going to go without screaming headline today, 35 killed. It's okay. It's good for us. It's better that politicians have now learned that talking, grandstanding, is the soul of politics. It's not about violence. We've seen how bitter the debates in the US was, the last one. And Trump has said he's not going to engage in another one because he got his match. So that's the kind of thing that we want. Let your candidates talk. Let them address the issues. It's not about violence. And I think Edo State did well in terms of that. And then we must also commend the security agencies. DIG Frank Kumba led the security team. And I think based on his experience, he has learned a lot. And he brought it to bear on this. Right. You know, the incident that happened early this morning, the way he handled it, that is with the governor showing up at the collation center. That for me was massive. Because someone else would have mismanaged it. Yes. And you know, the governor came with his own people too. And that could have sparked something else. So, the security and like
APC supporters were banging on the gate.
Yeah.
They were going to get violent. The governor didn't leave the place. So, it's credit to Frank that he got the governor to leave the place. The governor had no business going to the collation center. No business at all.
All right, gentlemen, just as we
you have agents. The job
if you go there yourself.
Go there. Now, after they read their results, their agents are at the collation center, listening to the results as read out by INEC officials. What is it?
Okay, how did you feel about that press conference?
It was pointless. It's like trying to take over the job of INEC. You know?
All right. Gentlemen, just as Sochi Okoro says, announcement of results will continue by 5 p.m. So we'll continue to monitor this development. Let's move on quickly. It's Sunday.